All right. 20 minutes. Was not expecting that. I mean, I knew it took some time, and this was a light load. Usually, I have a second table set up over there. The key is to not just have your tools, which you do need to thin them out over a while, because when you're doing, what I'm calling kind of renegade car work, or anytime you're working on your car, at least in Seattle, people are going to have an issue. So you can't, do stuff in a regular parking garage usually. Um, and then just working on the streets is sometimes even illegal, and they quote some kind of code about, fluids or whatnot. But the reality is, you know, if you're trying to renegade your vehicle repairs, notice how everything's in a case, everything has a specific location, and when I arrive, I know what needs to go where when it's pulled out, and when I pack up, I can very quickly pack everything up. It becomes essential that you know your loadout, like to the T. If you know your loadout to the T, then you know how much space you need. You know what tables need to be broken out, how they need to be set up for optimized placement. And also remember that if you make this a quick, setup and breakdown, I basically emptied the car out. So I'm ready to do some work up front today. I guess this should have been included, but the very first thing I do when I'm about to start work, once I don't need electricity, that's the other thing. If you need to dismantle or disconnect your battery when doing these renegade auto shops, like I know that if I want light, usually I have this, like, it's a chair set of wheels that has 5 spokes, and I've got what is it, like it's for holding a camera. That would be kind of funny. But it's got those screw tops that are very commonplace in the video world, and so I usually attach this light to the rolling thing, but because I wasn't doing a lot of external work today, and it's nighttime, it can get kind of chilly at some point. It's like 2 a.m. Sometimes I just pull open this just far enough for this to balance across it. And then the cool thing about its positioning, if I want light in the back, I do this. Go ahead and see it. I get kind of a side view. That's light in the back. This is light in the front. And you notice the back is quite a bit darker at this point. So with one light in a very, very discrete location, I can light the entire inside of the vehicle somewhat. Obviously it's better to have more light, and what I'm trying to do is slim down my loadout. So when I come down to work for the last 3 times, I've been trying to take less with me. I don't leave a lot in the car. I don't want to leave a lot in the car because people see me working out here all the time, and if anyone gets ideas for funny business, I want the loss to be very little, so I keep very little in the car. So light loadout, getting wagons, that's a dolly, things to pack your vehicle on quickly and move out. What I would also recommend is this is not ideal because it's a 2-prong plug. Have your extension cords ready, coiled and neatly wound. And then if you're going to be kind of, pirating power from an outlet, if your extension cord is just seen all over the place, like normally, you saw me do it in the beginning where I kind of keep it really close to the wall. So that's where, like, white cord, maybe have different colors too. White cords can conceal better against certain surfaces. Orange cords, I can't imagine a surface that an orange cord would look good against. Oh, orange cords are good in, like, leaves and foliage in autumn. And then I came over here, and you notice I set up to an extension cord. This extension cord was recently given to me by the guy that gave me, oh my God, 3 Raspberry Pis and 2 TVs and all this stuff. He gave me this really nice, anytime you have any type of a kind of a renegade distribution power, always get as long of a base cord as possible. I don't know if you saw me packing away these cords. Like I have a lot that are like this. So try and avoid power strips like that, because the longer the cord, the less other cord that needs to be used is a big one. And it gives you more places that you can move it once it's plugged in, instead of like this long. You know, I learned really early that you don't want to draw a lot of attention to yourself. Now, naturally, in this parking garage, there's not too many cars. It's like a, I don't know, maybe an 18-car parking garage. But this is about the most there's a van missing on that side. There's one vehicle missing over there. And this whole side is present. Oh, look, there's space in every other space. Except for, that's my neighbor. And we do have a person here, but that's what they're trying to do, is keep them one space apart. That's kind of cool. So what I do is I come in. Now, let's say I was doing this not at my home. So first off, if I'm going to work in the engine, I pull the car into a parking space face first, because that way all they really see is the hood up and they don't see what's going on over here. So let's say I'm working on the car, the opening is that way. This is where I set up my tools. Now let's say I'm in this parking garage, and from where I'm parked, I'm in like a little alcove in a parking garage, and this is the only entrance. So what I do with my tools is I look at the entrance, and when I can't see it, that's where my tables go, and I set up around there. So let's just imagine I've got all my tools that are in the back over here, and if this is the only opening, I forgot one key element that comes first. Now that's going to be closed, and so it's something like that. So all they're going to see is the hood up, not all the tools that are out over there. And normally in a situation like this, I built what I call privacy screens, and just blacks out the windows. It kind of just looks like double limo tint when you're parked in there. But what this does is it also draws less attention to yourself, like, oh, is this guy moving in? You know, which I think put a lot of people at ease, until, of course, they would come around and see what I was doing. So by the time I got this parking garage, I had it down to a science. But the one thing that, you know, people doing these renegade auto shops need to figure out is, how long will you have that space once you find it? There's not enough spots these days for just men to go work on their cars. A lot of it has to do with like changing fluids and stuff, because they're environmentally hazardous, and if they're not disposed of properly. But the reality is they'll sell it to you in an auto shop. So if they can sell it to you in an auto shop, there shouldn't be any reason why you can't just work on it, you know, in your apartment parking lot. Like, a lot of apartments have rules against it as well. This is also where outdoor mini storages come in handy, where they are large enough to accommodate a car driving straight in. But, you know, you come, assemble quickly, be conscious of your surroundings. Where are you visible from? How much of that visibility includes tools you may have that may or may not be valuable? Think about if usually you're doing these things at night, or at least I am. If you have all of your wealth displayed within visibility, probably a bad idea, depending on your location. You could draw some definite unwanted attention, especially with a lot of, the housing displaced individuals that, maybe are hard on the luck and consuming mood and mind altering substances that have their judgment all screwy. So bring as little as you can in the vehicle. That's another important thing. Right now I live upstairs, but were I to start using this vehicle tomorrow, I would have a loadout that would allow the vehicle, other than that seat missing, it shouldn't look like anything's going on in here, except I have a bed there usually, and pillows, and it's always arranged nice and fluffy. I usually have a curtain or something kind of blocking the back. But once I park and the blackouts are in with the moonroof, I can get light, I can get air, and not draw attention. Sometimes I can, when I was back down in Ording, I would pull up, put the blackouts in, and I would do all the work in the car without leaving the car. So, yeah, that's a typical loadout. I guess I don't need to tell people how to organize their tools, but, I'm trying to shift my mindset to consume less waste. So I'm trying not to accumulate items that I will not use, And with tools, right now I'll take everything I can get because I can always give it away. But were I to be forced into my car again, my ideal situation is I want to have a toolkit that's specifically designed for this car. So every tool per the OEM factory training manual, factory service manual, FSM. I want specifically every single tool that's in that book, which tells you recommended tools. And if that doesn't cover it, I want every metric socket size that I'll need, every metric wrench size that I'll need. And I don't want any wrench to not have a size that I need, so that when I travel, there's more space for people, which ideally is just me and one other person. So fine-tuning my install kit, and this is kind of about where the build's at now, as I'm attempting to create space. As much space as can be felt while in the vehicle. So the wood that I've been saving here is kind of set for a shelf that I want to span. Let's get out of that glare. I want to span those two rests there with a shelf that'll either be fabriced black or painted black. That's just a battery box for dual battery. And I got this all padded back here, so I can use this area from within the vehicle as well. That would be really cool if I was able to access this space as comfy human space. But I do need to carry things with me, especially if I'm living in it. So, if you are living in your car, then I recommend getting rid of every single solitary thing that you do not need. If it doesn't fit you in its clothing, get rid of it. If it's a tool that does not work on your car, but maybe it can help you craft something for the car, like a jigsaw. So I have a jigsaw. Would I bring that with me on the road? Initially, because, here's another thing. So if you're going to buy power tools, pick one company that makes a lot of different units that affix to their battery pack. That's the thing about hand tools. The battery packs and the chargers need to be matched. And of course, the batteries need to be matched to the driver, to the device. Now, I went with Hart because Walmart is cheap, and they have a huge assortment of very interesting things that attach to their batteries that other companies don't have. But as it turns out, I didn't realize this particular model of Hart battery, of which I have 3 very large batteries, even has a tester, 4 amp hour, 20 volt. 4 amp hour. I have 2 4 amp hours and 1 2 amp hour. If you're going to buy a power tool, make sure you choose the power tool that you would be able to get every power tool that you could ever want. For instance, DeWalt actually is compatible. So I could buy DeWalt, but let's just say I was using Ryobi. Ryobi is very specific with their batteries. If you look at their batteries, Ryobi is using that style, which DeWalt used to do something like this, but this is what they do, is they make them all kind of proprietary. Now, Ryobi, that was gifted to me, so I have it. And it is useful because I have 2 batteries. I have another impact. I just don't bring the impact down with me because I use this impact. And that's a regular drill with Ryobi. The reason why I like Ryobi or Hart as the companies to go with is, for instance, anything that Hart doesn't make, DeWalt probably does. So you would be able to buy a DeWalt. And DeWalt makes a hot air gun, which I really want bad, a hot air blower. And then Hart makes fans, a series of really cool fans that they're really helpful in summer. So you get a lot of these batteries and you're charging them with a proper multi-charger. Like, don't just go with the factory one. I also got it's ×4 multi-charger. And make sure you have a place to plug that in and just charge everything at once. But with full batteries, you could be parked in one location with those fans for days and be happy as a pig in shit. They also make lights, and they make a couple of other unusual things you wouldn't think about. They both make hot air or hot glue guns, and they both have soldering irons. So I need a hot glue gun, I need a soldering iron, I need fans, and the heat gun for heat shrink. And you can use it on lots of things. Like when you want to work on a cell phone, you usually have to heat the screen to make the glue that that usually holds it on kind of tacky so you can pull it off. So anyways, yeah, so with your power tools, try and pick a brand, when you have money or when you're shopping for stuff that's used, know ahead of time. I want Hart, I want Ryobi, I want DeWalt, I want Makita, I want Milwaukee, I want no-name Chinese brand from Amazon. So yeah, totes, Fred Meyer, Walmart, where every place that sells totes. These wagons are great, but I would recommend, I am torturing this guy. This wagon usually has a couple 100 pounds in it at least, and I don't think it's really designed for that much, and the tires are getting kind of tired. And this is plastic. This is ready for breaking. I don't know why it hasn't. I guess because I'm really careful. One of these is really cool. This actually is a roller like this, but you can convert it into like a regular moving man hand truck. So I bring these little things, these little mounts, so that I can normally I'm not making video, but that's kind of why I bought them, is so that I can hook them up to various parts of the car and capture video wherever I'm at. But normally I use them just to hold my cell phone so I can, look at what song's playing. Every once in a while I'll glance over at the Joe Rogan show if I'm, got a podcast playing in the background. If you are going to be doing work in public, I would recommend doing work in a place where noise isn't an issue. Once again, you pulling over into someone's neighborhood and breaking out power drills and a sawzall. Well, first off, they'll be like, why is this guy doing work in our neighborhood? Two, they might think you're stealing something. So, discretion is super important. Everyone's on edge. Everyone has this, and when I say everyone, no, please allow me the freedom of just verbal expression. It's definitely not everyone. I'm optimistic. But I do hear more and more about, different cities being very, very hard on the homeless community, being able to get out of there by imposing all these terrible laws and restrictions specifically to them, when if they just help them out more, they'd leave sooner. So be careful out there, and yeah, that's it for now.